Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could win this brand new 4-berth motorhome. But that's just the beginning, as we'll also give you a whopping £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend, save, or just to use to enjoy adventures in your new motorhome.
For a chance to win, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The GB News audience is different, it's unique, because they see through the nonsense.
We want to debate with each other, we want to listen and maybe learn.
We have a chat. That's what we do. We try and have a chat.
They'll watch my programme while they're eating their tea. They'll watch breakfast while they're busy getting their kids ready for school.
We want to hear what matters to you. What is news for you?
And what's brought you out here today? What are the biggest issues affecting this particular area?
The audience are the best thing about GB News.
Their friends, their family. They're people who need to have their voices heard.
They're passionate about the channel. They're passionate about what they believe in.
The one thing about GB News is you get a chance to speak.
Talk to me about why so many people have gathered here today.
Do you want to say something back in return?
The GB News audience is what makes GB News special.
It's incredible to see. They shape our programmes, they shape our output, and they shape our channel.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain. Well, welcome along, everybody. Thank you to everyone in my live studio audience. It is 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight... That's just absolutely mental. Lawless Britain, all-out gang warfare on Teesside, and...
I'm telling you that you are focusing on Pakistani grooming gangs because probably you're racist.
Well, Mapped, the rape gang map of Britain that shames everyone who tried to cover this up. Plus...
Might be the world's best carnival, or Caribbean in Notting Hill. It's very important.
Well, police have seized more than 70 zombie knives ahead of this weekend's Notting Hill Carnival. Why is Sadiq Khan still doing PR for it all? And... Scrap the Chinese mega embassy. Communist goons point illegal weapons at protesters in Britain. Also... It's a warning to the right in Britain, but there is a serious story here because the Greens have won in Dover, despite the fact that the Tories Reform and Restore got loads more votes. So look, come on, what is the right in British politics going to have to do here? And...
It's the battle for Britain, Picton roars, villages and towns hear the call, united we stand, shoulder to shoulder.
Early shout for Christmas #1 there, I think. The people of Piddington are planning to fight back over plans to house thousands of illegals in their village. And...
I see the current defence investment plans falling well short of what is required. Our adversaries don't follow timetables set by the Treasury.
Right, so there's a word for people like John Healey, isn't there? Because it's total humiliation. He's now set to U-turn on his demand for 3% defence spending, which is the whole reason he resigned and then made a big song and danced over it. On our panel tonight, we have got Reform UK councillor Jamie McIver. We have got broadcasting royalty Christo Fufas. We've got political commentator Ada Akpala. And another political commentator, big die-hard trade unionist, it's Andy 12. Oh, come on, he's quite nice when you get to know him. Anyway, get ready, Britain, here we go. Should Burnham put the army on the street? Next.
Very good evening. It's just gone 9 o'clock. These are your latest news headlines. 7 more men have been arrested as part of an operation to disrupt organised crime in the wake of the A66 crash, taking the total number of arrests to 24. It comes as more than 200 police officers from across the country have been drafted into Middlesbrough as the fears of gang violence erupting grow. Since Saturday's crash on the A66 that killed 2 police officers and 5 young men, a series of suspected gang-related incidents have taken place. A 7-year-old girl and her aunt were killed in a house fire, another home rammed, and a 39-year-old man was also stabbed in broad daylight. At this time, police have not confirmed a link between the crash and the 3 incidents. Residents of Middlesbrough are fearing that things could get even worse unless police get a grip of the situation. Shadow Police and Crime Minister Matt Vickers told GB News that there were serious problems facing the police.
In Cleveland, we've got a really acute problem. We've got an issue that's a small force. We've got some huge levels of deprivation in this part of the world. All of our public services in this part of the world actually are facing real pressure. They need funding. They don't just need 200 police today and tomorrow. They need to see that investment to put more police on the streets. And what they had since this government came in, obviously under the last government, police numbers across the country hit a record high. In recent times, they've been hit, the police force and the fire brigade, with that national insurance rise. Yes, we taxed our own police off the streets.
A Christian festival in West Sussex has been cancelled after at least 6 people were injured when a sign reportedly fell at the site. Day visitors to the big church festival near Wiston Park have been told to leave, while emergency crews remain at the scene. Sussex police will say that they were called shortly before 3:40 this afternoon, with specialist ambulance teams treating 6 patients. Elsewhere, the UK is deploying a rapid deployment team to Nepal to support British nationals and their families affected by the devastating flash floods. The team will arrive in Kathmandu tomorrow and work alongside the British Embassy and local authorities as the UK provides £5 million in humanitarian support. The death toll from the devastating floods has risen to over 560. 33 people from the UK are still missing, including a 13-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy. That's as officials warn that there is a significant risk of another major flood. And King Harald V of Norway has died at the age of 89. The announcement comes less than a day after the palace confirmed that his condition has become extremely serious. King Harald had been in hospital for 11 days, receiving treatment for a rare blood condition. King Charles and Queen Camilla have extended their deepest and most heartfelt condolences to the Norwegian royal family as Britain joins Norway in mourning the late King. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. More from me in an hour, but now it's back to Patrick.
Welcome along, everybody. Thank you very, very much to everyone who's made the journey to be here. No, there's a very serious story taking place as we speak. This is the definition of lawless Britain.
Wind's blowing that way.
No.
We are witnessing brazen gang warfare on the streets of Britain, the likes of which I can't really remember in my lifetime. And here is this timeline of terror that's taken place. So around 3 a.m. on Saturday, neighbours heard two loud bangs at a property in Acklam in Middlesbrough as someone's home was rammed by a car. Shortly after 3 a.m, police became aware of a Volvo and a Volkswagen Passat at large on those streets, both using fake number plates. Then, a couple of minutes later, police encounter the Volkswagen Passat in East Middlesbrough. They then gave chase to it. At 3:36 a.m, that same car was caught on CCTV, pursued by 3 police cars on Lime Road in Teesville. Now, it's seen racing through the area and police gave chase. You'll be watching it on your screens now if you're looking at it. So there, it's absolutely razzing it through that area and police are in pursuit. So then, the Passat turns the wrong way onto the A66. Shortly afterwards, as we all know, it crashes head-on into an oncoming police car, killing the 2 police officers and the 5 lads in the Passat. Well, then, there was this vigil for some of the lads who died in that Volkswagen car. Now, at this stage, the wider public didn't really know a huge amount about them. Many people, myself included, to be honest with you, thought that was a bit tasteless, given what had happened. But young lads had died, their families and friends were grieving. I didn't want to be unkind about that. But then, look what's happened since. On Wednesday, a house was set on fire in a residential road. Inside that house was a 7-year-old girl, Valentina Foster, and her aunt, Natalie MacDonald. They both died. There were other people in that house, including a 15-year-old schoolgirl who managed to escape by jumping out of a window. The family of Miss Foster said that she'd not been involved with anything to do with gangs. The police say the fire is not linked to the A66 crash, but 2 men have been arrested on suspicion of murder. On Thursday morning, early in the morning, a Jeep-type vehicle repeatedly rammed into a house on Steel Crescent in South Bank, destroying the front garden wall. This is all within a kind of mile or 2 radius. Thursday afternoon, just 2 hours later, a stabbing then occurred there. A 39-year-old man was assaulted with a bladed weapon. Armed police then attended. So after all of this, 200 police from all across the country were roped in to try to keep the area under control. The whole country's media has put this area under the spotlight. It was on the front page of almost every single national newspaper. Everyone was looking around Teesside, weren't they? The gangsters knew that, the criminals knew that, they knew there was 200 police there. And then last night, they did this.
Wind's blowing that way.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you know what stands out more than anything to me? All of this, from start to finish as well, and I don't take any pleasure in saying this, does seem to be working-class white men and women. Now, I have to be very consistent here. If this was happening in parts of Birmingham or in Tower Hamlets, and it was men of Pakistani heritage, I would obviously be kicking off here. I'd be asking why their community leaders aren't doing more to call out this behaviour. That's one thing that really winds me up whenever we see this stuff that goes on. Why aren't these so-called community leaders, etc., coming out and actually condemning it? So, look, I'll do it. These hooligans need to be brought to justice. 4 of the lads in that car that killed the police officers had 37 previous convictions between them. They shouldn't have even been on the streets. I would be perfectly happy if Burnham brought the army in, put the area under lockdown, root out all the wrong uns. And my message to all of these people who are taking part in this lawlessness is this. I think you're giving working-class white people in some more deprived areas a very, very bad name. So stop doing it. I mean, the area may well have been forgotten by the Westminster snobs. Yes, you know, they've been a bit left behind. I get that there might not be a lot of hope in that area, that the heavy industry is gone. Perhaps you feel a bit trapped in a place that doesn't have a lot of opportunity. And despite all of that, someone at some point in your life has probably told you that you have white privilege. And you look around and think, well, where is it? I understand all of that, but that is no excuse to be behaving like this. Police officers are dead. A 7-year-old girl is dead. Her auntie's dead. Some of your mates are dead. Cars are being torched, houses are being rammed, people are being stabbed. Look, just stop it. My other message to Andy Burnham is this: get a grip of this now. Otherwise, any remaining shred of hope that we all have in this room that there is anything resembling law and order in Britain will disappear forever. Let's get the views of my panel on this now. Yeah, Christo, I'll start with you on this. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm just waiting to see what we're going to end up reporting on later tonight about this, because it looks like it's just kicking off all the time there.
Yeah, and this is really a symptom of something that is far wider that is going on in the UK, but also in a place like Middlesbrough. So I hadn't realised before this story that Middlesbrough has the highest crime rate in England. A lot of residents there feel like the drug dealers and everything else are just acting with complete impunity. That there has been, obviously, we've known about places in different parts of the UK that have really lacked in investment and opportunity. But again, you know, this has really shone a light in a terrible and tragic way on Middlesbrough being one of those places. Now, there are places in the UK that have been left behind, that have felt left behind. And I think you're absolutely right, and fair play to you, Patrick, for calling it out, that this is criminality. There is no other way about it. There is criminality. But I think the difference between some other areas where you would perhaps have, I'm going to say this carefully, perhaps different ethnicities, is that we spend an awful lot of time in this country talking about how to make those ethnicities fit in. We talk a lot, when you have crimes of this nature in other parts of the UK, we do say, OK, we'll say how terrible the crime is, but Notting Hill Carnival. But what led to it? What were the factors that got us to this place? Rather than just talking about how terrible the crime is, which it is. And I think we need to take, I hate the expression because it sounds a bit hippie, but, you know, I think we need to take a bit more of a holistic approach on this. Obviously, what is going on is dreadful. There is no excuse for it. It needs a big police response. More than just 200 officers there for now. It needs a much bigger force. Cleveland's got the smallest force in the country. But also, we need to look at how we've got to this point. We need to look at how Middlesbrough has got to this point. And we need to not be afraid to ask, how have working-class, white boys mainly got to the point where they feel that they have to do this?
Well, I don't know. What do you think about the idea that there should be a serious response here, like kind of bringing the army in type level of response to what we're seeing here?
Yes, because what we see here are questions of law, order and state authority. And those in Middlesbrough, they're not the only ones that are affected by this. All of us here that are watching scenes like this play out, we're also affected because we've become worried and we're thinking that the government, politicians, our institutions, they don't have a grip on the safety of our country. And one thing I want to say as well, we had a Labour MP call this acts of terrorism. I don't specifically agree with that. And by the way, it's so interesting that they can so quick to call this terrorism, but when actual acts of terror that are religiously and ideologically motivated, they're umming and ahhings. But that's not the point. Regardless of whatever legal label this has, it is terrifying for the people who live there, who can't go to the shop, who can't go about their business. And it's all well and good to have hundreds of police officers, you know, there at the scene to sort this problem out or not sort it by watching fire vans burn and things like that. But what is the long-term goal here? What is the, like we're mentioning, planning and investment? What is the long-term investment and enforcement that we're going to do in these communities? And I don't think we're hearing much of that, and that's the problem here.
There is a chap towards the back here who's got a point to make, I think, on this particular topic. Sir, what would you like to say, please?
Yeah, so it's really a question for the panel.
Yeah.
Do you think that one of the problems, one of the causes of the Middlesbrough problems is past inconsistent policing of similar events and also a lack of immediate response? So people think they can chance it, they can get away with it, and they're not slapped down. And that do you think that encourages what we're seeing at the moment? Not in its entirety, but do you think that's a significant cause that needs to be addressed?
I think it's a great point, sir, because I'll put this to you, Jeremy. I mean, look, again, it's a difficult thing to talk about because of the lads that were in that Volkswagen Passat, obviously they've all died, and that is a real tragedy. But 4 out of the 5 of them had 37 criminal convictions between them. Another one was actually pending a charge in relation to assaulting, allegedly, a police officer as well. Some of them had driving offences, drug offences, all of this stuff. You know, to that gentleman's point there, yeah, they obviously had been... The message they'd been sent was that they can behave how they like and get away with it.
Well, it's not just them, is it? The message out there at the moment is very clear. Britain is completely lawless. Our justice system is broken. It is overwhelmed. We are releasing people early. We don't have capacity in prisons. And most people that are in crime think, do you know what? The chances of being caught are so slim. The chances of being prosecuted are even slimmer. The chances of being convicted are even slimmer. And the chances of going to prison are even slimmer. And if you do go to prison, the chances of being in there for your full sentence is never going to happen. You'll always do half. And if under this government, a third or maybe a sixth. The problem is we do not have deterrence in this country, whether that's our borders, whether that's to criminals, whether that's to people that want to shoplift or whether people that want to mass rape young girls in communities across this country. The deterrence isn't there. Just like we don't have deterrence when it comes to our armed forces, to our foreign aggressors. We've seen our own sovereign territory be bombed by Iran. Let's be real. Britain has become a soft touch, and that blame lies solely with the Labour and Conservative Party over the last 2 decades, and that is why people have completely lost faith in politics.
OK. Andy, I'll bring you in. So, look, what do you blame what we're seeing here on, and what should Andy Burnham do to try and sort it? I mean, I've kind of tossed out there, you know, bring the army, and I know people say that. A lot of people said that about the bin strike in Birmingham, although, to be fair, having been there and seen the bin strike, I would have been perfectly happy if the Marines had turned up and got rid of it. But what do you make of this?
I mean, I agree with Jamie. I think it is successive Labour and Tory governments. I think it was started by Thatcher with the deindustrialisation of Middlesbrough, and there was no contingency plan.
Stop. I wrote down. I knew it. Thatcher. Yes, I did it. I put it straight away. Thatcher. Yes, I knew it.
That's incredible. That's very, very good.
Within 5 minutes.
I think it did start with Thatcher with that deindustrialisation agenda, and then it was John Major, it was Tony Blair, it was Gordon Brown, who didn't try and resuscitate it, who, you know, allowed it to keep on going. That last Tory government for the last 14 years, you know, made it worse with austerity. You know, like you were saying, Cleveland.
Wasn't Andy Burnham in
yeah, I think that Labour government did nothing.
It's funny he's just so against all of those.
I think you know, Cleveland police force, the most underfunded and the smallest police force in the country. You know, really, there are so many compounding issues. I think, you know, you mentioned Tower Hamlets at the end of your monologue there. You know, it's almost like poverty and deprivation breed crime. It doesn't matter whether they're white or brown or black. You know, you see it in Tower Hamlets, you see it in South London, you see it in Glasgow, you see it in Middlesbrough. Like, it's not a unique race thing.
Why don't you see it in Chinese communities that are also deprived?
You do.
Heavy crime, organised crime like that?
I think you certainly... I don't think there are any singular massively working-class Chinese communities in Britain. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I am correcting you. They are highly deprived Chinese community groups in Britain.
Where?
You have in Chinatown in Birmingham. There are pockets also in London as well. It's out there.
No,
the research has been done, and that's why I'm rebutting this, because this...
I mean, if you can present the research... I mean,
well, I can't right
what's
now.
The breakdown?
I don't know the actual statistics,
Okay.
but I know this area very well, because...
Well, clearly not that well if you don't know the stats, but that's by the by. Deprivation breeds
no,
crime.
it doesn't, because
it does.
Just because you are poor and deprived doesn't mean that you go out and vandalise and set fire and be, you know, violent and things like that.
It massively increases the odds of it.
But you put a complete... not a correlation to it, and I think that's the problem there.
I think there is a correlation.
And I think in terms of contributing to the lawlessness that we're seeing, if you just say, oh, actually, being poor and helpless means that you're going to commit crime, I think that's the wrong message that we are sending to people.
It's not a message. It's not a message. I'm not saying I'm not enabling it or allowing it.
I actually think it's extremely insulting.
It's
to
not
people
that
just because they haven't got a load of money in their bank account, they're living in slightly challenged communities, the idea that they are therefore more likely, that's the hopelessness that we have bred onto communities in this country. And if anything is causing deprived communities to have a surge in crime, and I don't know if that's true or false, then it's actually people labelling them. That's what does it.
We've got to move on. I know Andy would obviously want to push back massively on that, but we've got a statement here from the police, actually, on the cars being set on fire at this vigil, which is what, by the way, can I just say what a statement that is, on the issue of the cars being set on fire at the vigil. During the gathering, vehicles were set on fire and members of the crowd released balloons, flares and fireworks. As the field was contained and it was assessed there was no immediate risk to the wider public safety, the vehicle fires were allowed to burn out. They added that nobody was injured and no arrests were made. I'll just say on that quickly, sorry, before we move on. Look, 2 of their colleagues, these police officers, have died, yeah? They were killed in a head-on collision. And people are looking at this now, and you think, is now not the time to have... to go into that field and start making some arrests? But anyway.
I can't believe that was their response to make it look like... to make them look better.
I didn't know
in fairness to the police, now a police officer has been killed. They've got the National Crime Agency funding, and that's where they've been allowed to bring in those extra police officers, extra trainees outside of Cleveland. So they have...
Yes, I just think that might have been the place to have used them.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the field, but anyway. Right, next. Piddington residents have launched a fresh campaign against plans to house 1,250 asylum seekers in their village. I'm going to be showing you their campaign video in just a second.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Portillo. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain,
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
All right, welcome back. So, last night on my show, I broke down some of the latest government immigration statistics. One number really stood out. More than 73,000 asylum seekers have now been housed in non-hotel accommodation across Britain in the last 12 months. And behind that number are communities that often have absolutely no say in what happens to them. And nowhere is the human impact of this policy clearer. At the moment, than the tiny village of Piddington, where the government plans to house 1,250 male asylum seekers at a military site. And they released a new campaign video today.
We didn't ask to make the headlines, didn't ask to make the news, but when they came without a warning, we had to choose. It's the battle for Britain. Piddington roars, villages and towns hear the call. United we stand, shoulder to shoulder, fighting with a ballad. That's our kind of war.
Yes, I mean, it goes on for quite a while. I do think it's quite catchy, and also some of it is pretty good, like the Spitfires flying over at one point as well. It kind of brings a tear to the eye. But they are having a vote as to whether or not to leave Britain. It's like a symbolic referendum on their area leaving Britain, because they feel so strongly about it. But, yeah, I mean, Ada, these people have got such a... I mean, they're even having their streetlights turned off. They're having their streetlights turned off at night.
The song's very catchy, and I think this is what happens when you go through adversity. It sort of brings out the creativity in you. But, you know, this is no laughing matter for them. By the way, the Home Office will come out and tell you that hotel use is actually down, but it's still very, very high. And sometimes when you hear 73,000, it seems so abstract, but it's not abstract to these people there. Obviously, they can't legally separate from Britain, but this is a symbolic thing. But I don't know how good this is for the health of Britain itself. It's very divisive, and it's divisive not because of the people there, but because they are not being listened to. Look, I guarantee you, if we walk down there and we ask each and every one of them, look, do you mind asylum seekers here? I bet you 9 out of 10 of them will say, look, we don't mind helping those in need. But the problem here that they've been saying, and so many other communities have been saying, is scale. For a town and a village of 314 people, max 10, 15, to have 1,250 people nearby and then extended out beyond that as well, I think it's just too much for any community to bear.
And it's the safety issue, Christo, as well. I mean, obviously, but, like, they're turning the... I mean, it struck me, we've got 13 billion quid that Andy Burnham has found for foreign aid, but we haven't got enough money to keep the streetlights on overnight in Piddington.
It is a battle for Britain. I mean, that is what the song is, and it is. And I think you're absolutely right. Just to correct you a second, it isn't 1,250 people. It's 1,250 mainly men, and that is the problem. And I just want to return to what happened in Essex. You know, with the protests against outside the hotel in Essex. Was it the Bell Hotel?
Yeah, well, oh yes,
you're talking to the Mr. Bell Hotel. Yeah.
But that didn't start when it was families in the hotel. And I think that's a really important point, that we need to remember that the majority of people in Britain are pretty decent, actually, when it comes to a family that is in need, that might be claiming asylum. It was when that hotel became full of men that people said, well, hang on, that's different. That's young, unaccompanied men coming over here, and it makes us feel unsafe. And it's just amazing, you know, that we have so many, again, conversations about left and right in this country, about people feeling unsafe around words, people feeling unsafe. Their feelings are so important. But if you say to people, hang on, there's a small village here and they feel unsafe because there are 1,200 men moving in, well, sorry, your feelings aren't important in that instance. And it's that hypocrisy that's so irritating.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lady on the front row here, I believe. Now, you have gone to some of the other protests in some of the other areas, is that right? Like Wethersfield and places like that? So how do you feel about this, then?
Every Thursday in Wethersfield, in Braintree, we have over 100 illegal, undocumented men bust into the town centre. GBNews came there last week, and for the next 3 weeks it's cancelled. So thank you to GBNews.
Seriously?
Yes, it's been cancelled. They're all stressed out. We don't know if it was illegal security men or whether it was GBNews turning up. So thank you, and Piddington, well done. And we're all joining forces now.
So that is interesting, which is so the people of Piddington and people around Wethersfield and Braintree and people in Crowborough,
we had Marmaduke from Crowborough.
Yeah, Linton on Ouse.
Yeah.
And so you're all meeting up now,
are you? We're all going to each other's protests just to, you know, to give them encouragement that we're all together. We're all stronger together.
Yeah.
And I think it's time that we came out, not sat on the sofa looking at the telly going, oh, this is really wrong, all these undocumented men. And I mean, they are all men in Wethersfield. There's 800 plus at the moment, and it's going up to 1,200, I believe, and then maybe 1,700, because they're going to build an extension on Wethersfield, and they want a swimming pool. So instead of that, we've now got...
I want a swimming pool. You know what I mean? Has anyone here got a swimming pool? God, I bet a couple of you have. Astor's got a swimming pool, of course, yeah. I know, but anyway, I'd like to see you try and get planning permission for one, by the way.
Why can't we extend prisons? Sorry, they can extend the place. And then all we've done over the last few weeks is talk about how there aren't enough prison places.
Football pitches, cricket, they've got a gym, they've got 3 meals a day, but they still come into Braintree to buy alcohol, to go in the betting shops, and just to irritate everybody and keep everyone away.
All right, let's bring Jamie and then Andy.
First of all,
Jamie, we want you down at Wethersfield.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for doing that. And I was in Crowborough last weekend. I'll absolutely go to
We're there
Braintree.
on the 20th.
What is so important is that we all remember something. Women and girls are not safe for as long as these illegals are walking around town centres. The data is there, period. Essex County Council have had to today announce they are paying for private security to go to Braintree and Colchester and Chelmsford. That serious is the threat. These people have on-demand buses that are taking them to these places. It is wrong, and the British people do not deserve it. But we must all continue to exercise our right to peacefully protest. It worked in Epping. The Bell Hotel, no one knew what it was until the people started to protest. But we also must remember, you show how you feel at the ballot box. Too many people in this country don't vote.
OK, so, Andy, what do you make of the fact that the people of Piddington now, that they are obviously organising, they've done this video, which has has caught people's attention. They're voting to try to leave Britain, which is a performative thing to, again, shine a light on what's going on in the area. How do you think they have a right to feel like that?
I think it's completely fair that they're objecting to it. I think it's ridiculous, not least just on proportions. Like, it's comical that it's happening, and I completely agree with their right to have a go. I think any normal person would. I think, this AI slop video is not the way to do it. I think it'll only do well on Facebook with a certain generation of people. I think the referendum is not really the best way to express their views. I think it's I think they're right to protest, but I think the AI slop is just
they're just trying to get attention, though, aren't they? Which is
Andy Burnham would never use a video to try and get attention, would he?
Well,
thank God.
I think
nobody in Labour ever does that.
I think there's a difference between using an actual person and actual people in videos and then just AI
I think
slop.
Well, one of the things that started for me with that video, I don't know if we might be able to play it without sound, but is that I think one of the things they were trying to do was to highlight that it's a historic town, and that hammers it home when you see the kind of AI, but of it almost like in a wartime footing. This is it, isn't it? That's kind of got slight Good Night Mr. Tom vibes.
Yeah, none of them were there. You've got this mad boomer obsession with World War II. It's insane.
No, I've spoken to people who live there now, whose relatives, hang on a second, whose relatives were fighting in World War II.
Everyone's relatives were fighting in World War II.
Yeah.
Come on.
And because
this is just AI slop.
It's an army barracks. Because it's an army barracks as well that was there. There's people there who whose fathers and brothers have served in the military, etc.
And actually go and interview them, do something meaningful rather than just AI slop.
So being obsessed with World War II, I think we are all a little bit obsessed with World War II because thousands, millions of people died, and that's so that we could be free and have these conversations.
That's the thing. It's like was it all worth fighting?
Because our country was being invaded, and brave young men, especially.
It was because Poland was being invaded.
No. Our country was being invaded, and brave men stopped.
When was our country invaded?
Brave men.
We weren't.
I'm sorry. Be respectful here. Brave men stopped this country from being invaded, and therefore.
So why are we denigrating them with AI slop?
Seeing our country be invaded in the way it is every single day at the shores of Dover is an insult to every person that served in our armed forces.
Okay.
That's what.
I mean, just purely factually, we weren't invaded, and you're denigrating their memory by just using cheap AI slop. That's all it is.
What was the Luftwaffe doing over London?
All right.
Well, it wasn't an invasion, by the way.
We're slightly digressing here, but anyway, a government spokesperson previously had said overall asylum costs have already fallen by £1 billion since the general election. Where we are working to fairly house asylum seekers across the country, working closely with local authorities and listening to local concerns to reduce the impact impact on communities. Good grief. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, right, time now for the Great British Giveaway. Yay! Oh, here is Hayley Sparks with all the info.
It's brand new and it's the big one. Your chance to win £110,000 in prizes. Our biggest giveaway of the year so far. First, we want you to drive away in this. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could win this brand new 4-berth motorhome. The McClue Fusion comes fully loaded with all of the home comforts you'd expect. Built-in modern kitchen, bathroom, fridge freezer, and it's worth £75,000. But that's just the beginning, as we'll also give you a whopping £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend, save, or just to use to enjoy adventures in your new motorhome. This incredible prize package is exclusive to GB News. You won't see it anywhere else, so make sure you don't miss out.
For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. We may call the winner live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
So, I hope everybody's ready for the Notting Hill Carnival this weekend. Yes, good. Well, you brought your zombie knife with you because 76 zombie knives have already been confiscated in the run-up to this weekend's Notting Hill Carnival. We're going to be looking at whether or not there's a bit of hypocrisy when it comes to this celebration. That's next.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're heading away for the final weekend of summer, there is some drier and brighter weather on the cards for Spain and Italy. Very hot in the Mediterranean. Some quite intense thunderstorms, though, affecting parts of northern Italy in towards Slovenia and Croatia as well through Thursday and Friday and into the weekend. They will tend to fade away. You can see that very hot and sunny weather across the Mediterranean, and it's going to stay that way into next week as well, with temperatures in the mid-30s. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. The bank holiday weekend brings further showers and some windy weather for some areas, but it will be a little bit drier for many of us as we head through this evening. That's as the area of low pressure from today moves away to the east, and we're between areas of low pressure. We've got a ridge of slightly higher pressure for a time, which means less in the way of that heavy rain that many of us may have seen through today. So a dry night to come, clear skies developing as well quite widely across northern and eastern areas. To the west, though, notice this next batch of rain is going to be quite intense and breezy by tomorrow morning. But elsewhere, it's going to be a bright and relatively fresh start to the day. Should be a little bit more comfortable tonight than it has been lately, if you've been noticing that humidity. A northerly wind will move into parts of northern Scotland through the night, so there will be a bit more cloud across the far north of Scotland in particular. A little bit of light rain as well, just feeling a little bit fresher here. More sunshine for parts of southern and central Scotland, though, feeling quite bright across parts of Northern Ireland. That's where we just escape this main band of rain. It's likely to be heaviest across the southwest of England, South Wales through the first thing tomorrow, and then that will push north and eastwards through the morning, affecting much of England and Wales through the day. The winds will strengthen across the south coast into the afternoon. We could see gusts up to 35, possibly 40 miles per hour. So quite a windy day, particularly compared to any of the weather we've seen lately. And worth noting if you're camping. Some heavy bursts of rain into the afternoon, possibly some thundery downpours as well. Dry for the north on Saturday. A wetter day to come for more northern areas on Sunday. That's as this next area of low pressure pushes up to parts of Northern Ireland and parts of western Scotland through the day. Eastern areas seeing at least a dry start to the day, but there's a chance of showers in the afternoon. And the bank holiday Monday looks a little bit drier for more southern areas, but further rain in the north. Bye-bye.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Your views. Just to be clear, my viewers are frustrated. Your voice. Lots of you guys getting in touch. Your perspective. Before these two start fisticuffs. Your issues. What is the official party line? Your concerns. Do you agree with that? Your show. Are you keeping up? Good.
I'm so excited to be back this Tuesday at 6 p.m. Jubes & Co. Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
All right, welcome back. So, predictably, police have seized 76 zombie knives the day before this weekend's Notting Hill Carnival. Last year, at the carnival itself, there were 528 arrests, 4 reported stabbings, 55 assaults on police officers, 18 sexual assaults. In 2024, there were even 2 murders. But apparently, we just have to accept that kind of thing. Here was Metropolitan Police Commander Brenier, Chairman Brenier, speaking in 2024.
Women and girls who might feel sort of vulnerable in carnival, unfortunately there are incidents of sexual assaults, can go and be supported in those areas.
Anyway, Sir Sadiq Khan, I hate saying that, Sir Sadiq Khan, and rapper AJ Tracy sat down and they just bonded. They just bonded about the carnival.
Sure, they do not remove carnival from my area, please. If you've got any say on,
Brother,
I don't want it in Hyde Park.
I have.
I don't want it in Hyde Park. We need it in Laverne Grove.
You know, as long as I'm here, it might be the world's best carnival, the Caribbean in Notting Hill. It's very important.
Right. Now, just compare that attitude to his response to the Unite the Kingdom rally, which he slammed for stoking fear, hatred and division. There were 20 arrests made at that rally. There were no sexual assaults, as far as I'm aware. No police officers were stabbed. No one was stabbed. And also, one of those arrests was actually from a lefty. So there you go. But anyway, is this just a case of double standards at its worst? Well, Jamie, what do you think? I mean, you're always at Notting Hill Carnival, mate.
Do you know, there's nothing I love more than Bank Holiday Monday thinking about going to Knife Fest, International Knife Fest. I mean, the whole thing is an absolute sham and embarrassment. I think it's really sad for people that are from London because the world looks at that and thinks that's what London's like, and it's not what London's like. But you know, if I was Sadiq Khan, I'd make it National Stop and Search Day because the people going to that are the people that are in the profile who are carrying knives, so many of them. But the proof is in the pudding when you look at the arrests last year. We have such double standards when it comes to politicians. You waving an England flag or United Kingdom flag or the Welsh flag or the Scottish flag, oh my God, you are breeding hatred and division into our country. But if you go to National Knife Fest, it's absolutely fine. The politicians, and it sickens me, by the way, seeing the mayor in a T-shirt, I'm sorry to be a bit petty, trying to be down with the kids, you know, it's like being all cool. I've got my white T-shirt on today to do an interview with some cool dude. Politicians need to get a grip. It's like Andy Burnham when he went to Sainsbury's the other day and put that on to try and be cool and down with everybody. Can politicians just do their job, stop people being stabbed on the streets, stop people coming to this country illegally, and actually start delivering for people?
Is there a double standard here? Because they eulogise Notting Hill Carnival. I don't think there's another event in the country where you'd have every year this level of criminality and it would still be celebrated. What do you think?
Yes, and whenever you bring that up, they will always mention Glastonbury Festival, you know, but there are arrests in Glastonbury. What about the sexual assaults and, you know, the sort of disorder? But the thing with Notting Hill Carnival, you have that, and then you have the stabbings, you have potential murders like the one that we had in 2024. But it's only one murder, they will tell you. So I think there's a big gap between how politicians present the festival, the event, to how actually people close by actually experience it. And I also think there's this kind of normalisation of disorder, boarding up, you know, shop windows, boarding up your houses. That's absolutely not right.
No.
There should, if you know, there's always a level of noise that's expected. That's unavoidable. But if there's sort of expectation of stabbing, urinating on the streets, defecating on the street, and that's not unavoidable, then maybe it's time to stop it or do it in a completely different way.
Andy, what do you make of that? That actually, realistically, if this level of criminality was happening anywhere else, they would just ban it?
Well, it does. You know, the arrest rate is roughly 3.5 per 10,000 people, so out of every 10,000, 3.5 people, I don't know, 3 people in a, amputee, I don't know. But, 3 per 10,000, I think you probably see that at most football games. I think you probably see that at most, big festivals, big events. I think measuring Notting Hill Carnival by its crime rate is not the KPI I'd be looking for, to be honest. I don't think it's that mad.
You would hear more about it if at the North London derby there were 500 arrests and 2 people were stabbed and everyone was on cannabis.
You do see quite a lot of arrests at
Not like
North London
you
derby.
don't, not like
I don't know off the top of my head the crime rates, because we don't judge events by crime rates.
We should, we do. We actually do.
It's all important statistics.
So Glastonbury... So Glastonbury comparatively has a 3.16 per 10,000, so not too dissimilar, Chris.
Well,
if you're after your statistics.
I think you'll find that football games are approximately 0.2 incidents per 10,000 people, whereas the Notting Hill Carnival, 3.5 per 10,000 people.
There you go.
Well, so
Glastonbury's 3.16. There you go.
You didn't mention Glastonbury. You mentioned football.
All right. We've got some wiggle room there at the next football match, haven't we? Before we let's get stuck in. Anyway, right. Police spokesperson has said, sadly, we know that predatory offences see crowded spaces as opportunities to commit offences. This is in no way unique to Carnival. We use specialist resources, visible policing and partnerships working to prevent offending, protect victims and take action against those who pose a risk to the public. Right, OK. Next, OK, so, first budget as Chancellor. Step forward, John Healey, the bloke that quit as Defence Secretary because we were not going to be funding the defence spending by 3%. What's he going to do? Well, it looks as though he's not going to be bumping defence spending to 3%. You could see it coming a mile off, couldn't you? Anyway, we'll talk about that next.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
A tetraplegic veteran is embarking on a 79-mile journey in an off-road wheelchair to prove that life can still be extraordinary.
Yes, Danny Mayer, who served in the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards in Iraq, was paralysed from the neck down after a motorcycle accident 6 years ago.
Well, the 41-year-old Glaswegian is now preparing to travel the Great Glen Way in Scotland, of course.
Feeling nervous now, being just a month from it. Stand by my idiotic phrase. Definitely that's starting to approach me a little bit more. Hopefully a little bit more inspiring by the end of the journey, but I'm feeling like, as most people do when they take on a challenge, or at least something that's out of their reach, maybe a little chaotic.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
There's also a big issue with pigeons in Norwich, but the Greens are not allowing them to be culled. They're supported by a group called Peck Savers, which I think is rather good. And somebody turned up at a council meeting dressed as a pigeon. And you just think, wait a minute, the world's on fire, there are various wars around the place, and they're obsessing about how to deal with pigeons. It does seem quite bizarre, their priorities. But they have proposed pigeon contraception. What? I would like to see that in action. Yeah. I would like to see somebody try and... this is a family show, but I cannot understand how that would happen. But it does seem to me that their priorities are completely upside down.
That's what some Green councillors have advocated.
GB News, the People's Channel. Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Royal Navy was the most powerful navy in the world at that time. That was really the bigger ships, the sort of capital ships they're called. When it came to small ships, we really weren't. And especially minesweepers, there was something like 30 sweepers to protect 20,000 miles of coastline. So Churchill, as First Lord of the Admiralty, realised quickly something needed to be done, and he mobilised what became known as the Royal Naval Patrol Service, rather a dry name. But he requisitioned 200 trawlers, deep-sea trawlers from Grimsby, Hull, all those big sort of fishing ports, and their crews. And they were fish holes were turned into mess decks. Fishing nets were removed, replaced by sweeping gear.
GB News, the People's Channel.
All right, welcome back. So, do you remember when the then Defence Secretary, John Healey, was skewering Sir Keir Starmer's government for not footing the bill when it came to Britain's defences? He resigned over it. We all know he resigned over it. He made a big song and dance out of it. Well, now it's been reported that in his first budget as Chancellor, Mr Healey will fail to commit to spending 3% of GDP on defence by 2030. This is utterly shameless, Andy.
Yeah, well, I think it's bad to resign on principle and then abandon that principle not a month later. I think there's a bit more detail to it than just the headline figure. Alistair Carnes, who was the Minister for the Armed Forces, who also resigned with John Healey when he was Defence Secretary, wasn't just about increasing it to 3%, it was also about how the money was being spent. So we don't spend a load of money on a load of outdated tech, a load of outdated weapons. So I think there is a lot of the spending allocation that John Healey is re-looking at as part of the defence investment.
So they're basically going to do that thing they always do, where they fudge the numbers around so much that no one can really understand.
Yeah, I think basically, yeah.
So there you go. That's exactly what I wanted all along.
I think it's bad on principle, but there is. I think 3% is an ambitious target.
Dear God, Christy, you're shaking.
I'm just laughing because you know what? We nearly had one. We nearly had a Labour politician with a little bit of integrity, didn't we? It was just there for a second, wasn't it? Nearly. Oh, I'm resigning on principle. It's like, my God, we found one that knows the meaning of the word. Congratulations. And as it turns out, no, he just wanted to get up the greasy pole, get the top job that he wanted, and now all principles have been abandoned and our military have been abandoned. Congratulations. And you know who suffers? You.
We normally have, I don't know about this, normally we have at least one person in who's a veteran, I think, but I don't know, no, not tonight. Yeah, sir at the back. Do you want to say how you feel about this if we get the microphone to you, or do you want to remain anonymous at the back of the studio? It's up to you. You're going to have to say something to me, though. Do you want to talk about it?
He's anonymous now.
I'll keep you anonymous for now, mate, don't worry, all right. Jamie, what do you make of this?
What I can't get my head around, right, is that Labour were in opposition for 14 years. They had all that time to prepare on the run-up to general. It was obvious they were going to win. Defence of the realm can't... There's nothing more important than that, in my opinion, right? How can you not have a plan for how you're going to sort that out? And how can you chop and change it? And how can you be Defence Secretary, resign because of a fiscal matter, become the Chancellor in charge of the money, and then not be able to deliver it? Sums the lot up, call a general election.
I completely agree that defence of the realm is one of the most important things for government. But, Reform don't even have a defence spokesperson. You've managed to get a women and equality spokesperson, which is pretty woke, actually. But
we do. His name is Nigel Farage.
I mean, that's not
His name is
that's not how it works. He's not some kind of Winston Churchill in the war cabinet. You do need a defence secretary.
I think you'll find there are some great names who have been prime ministers of this country, and Nigel Farage is one about to be made prime minister.
But you don't have a defence spokesperson. You don't even have a defence policy.
Nigel Farage will have the full respect of the armed forces community because he actually understands.
But what's your defence policies? You don't have a defence spokesperson. You don't have someone to answer questions in the House of Commons.
His name is Nigel Farage.
OK. Well, obviously we'll have to wait and see what John Healey does. But that is, again, that's just going to be such an easy thing, isn't it, at the dispatch box for them to have a go. We've only got 40 seconds, I'm afraid, so I'm sorry. I'll skip you out of this section, but I'll come back to you in the next one. But a spokesperson for the government said, at the spending review, we will set out a pathway to meet our NATO commitment of 3.5% of GDP on defence by 2035, and we'll set a target date to hit 3% on that path. Well, there you go. I suspect there's going to be some numbers being fudged. Anyway, next, revealed, huge story this. GB News has mapped the grooming gang abusers linked to national networks of organised crime, and it is not just the rape gang members. They're also members of drug gangs. They're also trying to infiltrate politics. It's everything we all suspected was happening, and it turns out it is. That's next.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. The bank holiday weekend brings further showers and some windy weather for some areas, but will be a little bit drier for many of us as we head through this evening. That's as the area of low pressure from today moves away to the east, and we're between areas of low pressure. We've got a ridge of slightly higher pressure for a time, which means less in the way of that heavy rain that many of us may have seen through today. So a dry night to come, clear skies developing as well quite widely across northern and eastern areas. To the west, though, notice this next batch of rain is going to be quite intense and breezy by tomorrow morning. But elsewhere, it's going to be a bright and relatively fresh start to the day. Should be a little bit more comfortable tonight than it has been lately, if you've been noticing that humidity. A northerly wind will move into parts of northern Scotland through the night, so there will be a bit more cloud across the far north of Scotland in particular. A little bit of light rain as well, just feeling a little bit fresher here. More sunshine for parts of southern and central Scotland, though, feeling quite bright across parts of Northern Ireland. That's where we'll just escape this main band of rain. It's likely to be heaviest across the southwest of England, South Wales through the first thing tomorrow, and then that will push north and eastwards through the morning, affecting much of England and Wales through the day. The winds will strengthen across the south coast into the afternoon. We could see gusts up to 35, possibly 40 miles per hour. So quite a windy day, particularly compared to any of the weather we've seen lately. And worth noting if you're camping. Some heavy bursts of rain into the afternoon, possibly some thundery downpours as well. Dry for the north on Saturday. A wetter day to come for more northern areas on Sunday. That's as this next area of low pressure pushes up to parts of Northern Ireland and parts of western Scotland through the day. Eastern areas seeing at least a dry start to the day, but there's a chance of showers in the afternoon. And the bank holiday Monday looks a little bit drier for more southern areas, but further rain in the north. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the biggest, greatest Great British giveaway of the year so far.
Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, this brand new McClure Fusion could be yours. We'll also boost your bank account too with a further £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like.
For a chance to win, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday Five.
You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
All right, hello everybody. Good evening. Thank you very much to everyone who's made the journey to be here tonight. It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
No.
It's lawless Britain, I'm afraid, isn't it? All-out gang warfare on Teesside. Are we going to see any more action overnight? I suspect we probably are. And
I'm telling you that you are focusing on Pakistani grooming gangs because probably you're racist.
well, I mean, I thought she looked stupid anyway, but she definitely does now, because Mapped, this is the rape gang map of Britain that shames everyone who tried to cover this up. Plus,
might be the world's best carnival or Caribbean, not in all, it's very important.
well, the National Stabathon is about to take place this weekend, isn't it? Police seize more than 70 zombie knives ahead of this weekend's Notting Hill Carnival, and not sure the Chinese will be putting up with Notting Hill Carnival, would they? Scrap the Chinese mega embassy. That video you just saw there was communist goons pointing illegal weapons at protesters in Britain. Also, oh, this should be a big warning to people on the right in this country, because the Greens have taken Dover despite the Tories reform and restore getting loads more votes. So what are they going to do? And here we go. Breaking on Saturday's Daily Telegraph. The United States has threatened to oppose Britain's sovereignty of the Falkland Islands if Andy Burnham does not increase defence spending. Well, that's going to get very spicy, isn't it? I'll bring you all of the details and all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages shortly. But on our panel tonight, we've got Reform UK councillor Jamie McIver. We've got broadcasting royalty Christo Fufas, political commentator Ada Akpala, and political commentator Andy Swells. It's got better. It got better. It's got a bit better. All right, OK, get ready, Britain. Here we go. The rape gang scandal is even worse than we thought. Next.
Very good evening. It's just gone 10 o'clock. These are your latest news headlines. 7 more men have been arrested as part of an operation to disrupt organised crime in the wake of the A66 crash, taking the total number of arrests to 24. It comes as more than 200 police officers from across the country have been drafted into Middlesbrough as fears of gang violence grow. Since Saturday's crash on the A66 that killed 2 police officers and 5 young men, a series of suspected gang-related incidents have taken place. A 7-year-old girl and her aunt were killed in a house fire, another home rammed, and a 39-year-old man was also stabbed in broad daylight. At this time, police have not confirmed a link between the crash and the 3 incidents. Residents of Middlesbrough are fearing that things could get even worse unless the police get a grip of the situation. Shadow Police and Crime Minister Matt Vickers told GB News that there were serious problems facing the police.
In Cleveland, we've got a really acute problem. We've got an issue that's a small force. We've got some huge levels of deprivation in this part of the world. All of our public services in this part of the world actually are facing real pressure. They need funding. They don't just need 200 police today and tomorrow. They need to see that investment to put more police on the streets. And what they had since this government came in, obviously under the last government, police numbers across the country hit a record high. In recent times, they've been hit, the police force and the fire brigade, with that national insurance rise. Yes, we taxed our own police off the streets.
Elsewhere, a Christian festival in West Sussex has been cancelled after at least 6 people were injured when a sign reportedly fell at the site. Day visitors to the big church festival at Wiston Park have been told to leave, while emergency crews remain at the scene. Sussex police say that they were called shortly before 3:40 this afternoon, with specialist ambulance teams treating 6 patients. Hundreds of people hit by cancelled heating oil orders during the Iran war are being offered compensation after suppliers were warned by the competition watchdog. Around 800 customers have already been notified, with hundreds more set to be contacted, while around 1,700 people are thought to have been affected. Some were forced to pay between £150 and £350 more for replacement oil after prices soared by 92% at their peak. And the UK is deploying a rapid deployment team to Nepal to support British nationals and their families affected by the devastating flash floods. The team will arrive in Kathmandu tomorrow and work alongside the British Embassy and local authorities as the UK provides £5 million in humanitarian support. The death toll from the devastating floods has risen to over 560. 33 people from the UK are still missing, including a 13-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy. That's as officials warn that there is a significant risk of another major flood. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. More from me in an hour, but now it's back to Patrick.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Well, thank you very much to everybody who has made the journey to be here tonight. Now, this is the evidence that we've all been waiting for about the Pakistani rape gang scandal. This is proof of what everyone who really cares about the Pakistani rape gang scandal has always suspected. This map that you'll be seeing on your screens right now is vindication for everyone who was called a racist or was called far-right for saying that this is a national scandal. Amazing, painstaking new research has mapped the links between 99 different rape gangs right across the country. It shows how they were interconnected, and researchers uncovered well over 4,000 different connections between grooming gang abusers, other crime gangs, families, and notable individuals, including politicians, state employees, and businesses. 68 families are named and shamed as being responsible for this grooming gang epidemic. It proves that these rape gangs stretched all the way from Plymouth up to Scotland. And if you look at the web of contacts in the north of England alone, it clearly shows you that in that area alone, grooming gang members from Manchester are linked to those in Bradford, Wakefield, Sheffield, Blackburn, Bolton. I mean, everywhere. Look at that. These are all, by the way, if we keep this on the screen, these are all the lines of the different journeys that some of them have taken and who they've been meeting. So it just shows you that they all knew each other, basically, or lots of them certainly did as well. This is a spider's web of organised crime, exemplified by this man more than most. This is Ammar Ilyas, a prolific child rapist and grooming gang monster who was nicknamed Killer. He was stabbed in the head by an organised criminal who was later convicted of drug offences. Detectives in South Yorkshire reviewed the stabbing in relation to a separate shooting in Sheffield. And then GB News also revealed that Ammar Ilyas had been a Labour Party candidate. He was sentenced along with 2 of his brothers. And there you have it, in one of these cases alone, child sex trafficking, drug gangs, violent offences, political links and family connections. And that is what all of this research really shows us this evening. It shows us what many of us has always suspected, that predominantly Pakistani and South Asian heritage gangs have not just been responsible for mass child rape in Britain, but also drug offences, violent crime as well. And that they are so warped, some of these people, that at times there will have been family or clan-based conversations about how they can traffic predominantly working-class white girls between different cities, so that brothers in one city and cousins in another can rape and abuse them. And it poses the question, doesn't it, that how did they get away with this for so long? Not just because, you know, they managed to call people Islamophobic for questioning them, but also, I suspect, because of their political connections. But now we need to have a reckoning for the perpetrators, obviously, but also for the establishment media class that, in my view, were trying to move away from this story and essentially to cover it up. People like Rory Stewart.
being focused on here, where a group of almost entirely British Asian and Asian men in Rotherham and Rochdale were involved in grooming, in other words, meeting girls generally between 13 and 16, disproportionately in care, making friends with them in parks, and then paying them for sex. But they're being used as a big, big symbol by the far right of abuse.
No, there's lots. There's a longer clip of that, and I think Rory Stewart's posh accent masks how thick he really is, to be honest with you. But seriously, it does. These underage girls were not paid for sex, yeah? They were raped. I mean, it didn't just happen, by the way, in those 2 towns he seems to think it did. It happened, as we've just seen, right across the UK. Then you've got people like Emily Maitlis.
I'm telling you that you are focusing on Pakistani grooming gangs because probably you're racist.
Or because it was happening all over the country and no one was really talking about it. People like Labour's Lucy Powell, who thought it was a little dog whistle.
Anyone who saw the documentary on Channel 4 about rape gangs over
No,
this...
we want to blow that little trumpet now, do we? Yeah, OK.
There was a real issue...
Let's get that dog whistle out, shall we?
Look, OK, Lucy.
Yeah. You know it was happening in her area? Like, it was happening in her patch, and, you know, it's a little dog whistle. And, of course, people like Jess Phillips, who originally refused a government-backed inquiry into the rape gangs in Oldham. I just want to see these maps again, OK? And the findings of this report, which you can read in full by Charlie Peters on the GB News website, I want to see it taught in every single school in Britain, because this is one of the biggest scandals in our country's history. Let's get the views of my panel. We'll go to the audience on this as well. Ada, your views on what this research has shown, actually, which is that it's not just been about the child rape. It's the fact that they are organised and family-based crime gangs as well, aren't they?
It just makes my blood boil, honestly, and this case is so significant because it shows how Britain has fundamentally underestimated the scale of the grooming gang scandal. Intentionally or not, I'll let you be the judge of that. But the point is that people have been speaking about this. Journalists, people protesting on the streets, and what have they been called? Racist, or if you have my colour, a sellout, brainwashed. But the reality is that a lot of girls have been let down because institutions, those who are meant to protect, the most basic fundamental thing a government is supposed to do is protect its citizens, especially the most vulnerable. And I think there's inquiries going on, but people must be held accountable. I want to know who knew about this, who should have known and didn't act on it. I think there are serious questions to be asked and answered here.
Yeah, well said.
I think it is a huge stain on our nation's history, and I'm disgusted by it every time we talk about it. And I'm just so pleased we're able actually to talk about it a bit more these days without being called some of the things that you just mentioned. But you know something? I think not only should we rapidly expand our prisons to make sure we can lock criminals up, period, I think we should lock up every single person that was meant to protect those girls and failed, whether that's the police, the local authorities, the councils, anybody that deliberately blocked not justice, but saving lives. I put it to you, there are young girls that would be alive today in this country or would have better lives than they have today if people had just done their jobs. Not go out of the way to do anything extra special, just do their jobs. Who was in charge of safeguarding in Oldham? Who was in charge of safeguarding in Rochdale? And who was in charge of safeguarding places like Plymouth, where it was going on? And to anybody who tries to say this is an isolated incident in the north, that argument is now gone. This is a national scandal, and people don't just need accountability, we don't just need answers, we need justice.
There is a seriously uncomfortable thing to talk about here. I mean, I guess it's all a bit uncomfortable, don't get me wrong, but we spoke a bit, don't we, about this, about culture, yeah? About whether or not these men, predominantly of Pakistani or South Asian heritage, where they didn't really seem to care about the idea of raping working-class white girls because they'd saw them as lesser than and all of that. Just to think about the practicalities of what must have happened sometimes here, which is that, like, you're at a family gathering and you and your brothers start talking to your cousins and you start hatching a plan about, like, picking up underage girls, drugging them, driving them to a different city so that you can all rape them together. What kind of sick, warped mentality? Like, can you even imagine being, like, overhearing that conversation at a family gathering? And that clearly was happening a lot here. This spider's web up and down the country shows it. You know, family members over here, there and everywhere, doing that kind of thing. Like, what is that?
It's brazen. It's the operating with just complete impunity, thinking that you can just, well, not thinking, being able to get away with it. And this is, again, brilliant journalism from GB News here, and every single time, though, and actually now it's so obvious, isn't it? Of course it's obvious. When you look at all the different towns and cities involved, it's obvious that now, with hindsight, of course it makes sense that there are connections between all of this. And I worked on ITV Daytime as a producer 10 years ago, and I remember being part of the team that put Maggie Oliver on ITV Daytime, and genuinely talking to her afterwards, going, "This is mainstream now. You know, we daytime TV, terrestrial. This is going to make a difference, and this stuff is going to stop now." It's 10 years on, and we're still finding out more, and we still don't have justice. And the thing that just is so wrong about this, and is such a symptom, and it's a thread that goes through so many of the stories that we discuss here on GB News, but in general with the problems here in the UK, and that is that the threat of being accused of being racist is worse to these people than white girls children being raped. We speak about it in so many other contexts, so many of the problems in our society. The Notting Hill Carnival, oh my God, you're racist if you want to actually try and solve the problems there. Henry Novak, you're racist if you don't believe the person that's made the thing. There are so many problems that go through our society that the fear of racism is and what they don't understand is this community cohesion that they are so obsessed with that means that they don't investigate these things. Right. Well, how's this for community cohesion when we talk about all of this? So it's moronic. It doesn't even work. We've got to solve it.
All right, Andy, do you think we should see a little bit of a mea culpa from the likes of the Rory Stewarts and the Emily Maitlisses and the Lucy Powells of this world when you see the maps and the interconnectivity and the spread of it right across the UK here? That, you know, they obviously just didn't believe this, did they? Really, they tried to downplay it.
Yeah, I do. I don't think it's just those three. I think there are many culprits across the media, across the political class, across so many. It was one of the reasons I think the main reason I didn't vote for Lucy Powell in the Labour deputy leadership contest, because I thought it was completely inappropriate that someone so high level would have said that on the BBC. To denigrate the victim side. I think it's just completely inappropriate. I think these findings are awful and they're terrible. I'm glad that the government finally commissioned a national inquiry, and we'll get the results of that in due process. But I think it is not even a political thing. It is just terrifying and awful to see how organised and how deeply evil this was.
Can I just say something very quickly? It's still going on. Yesterday, Alistair Campbell, right, tweeted on X a story of members of a child sex ring sentenced to 145 years in prison, and they're all white, all of the photos of it. And he reposted the story saying, Farage, Lowe, Robinson, Youssef, silent on the pure rage. Don't you get it? These people have been caught. That's why it's working that these people have been caught, whereas these other people who were of Pakistani Muslim heritage were ignored. So they're still trying to whitewash this as to the fact that this is all racism.
And one quick point, you started your brilliant comment on the practicality as well, but you did still start it like it's a bit uncomfortable to talk about culture, and we really have to be ruthless and forceful here. I'm not talking physically in any way, but psychologically, this is a battle. This is a psychological battle. And the thing is, we can't pick and choose when culture is relevant and when culture is not. We've just had a previous conversation about Sadiq Khan saying how wonderful Notting Hill Carnival is. areas because of celebration of culture and things like that. In these cases, this is where culture matters most. We are not tarnishing everyone from a certain community, but there are obviously links, connections and patterns. And instead of individual or was it network map that did this? Yeah, just where is the government? Where are the police? Where are the people who are meant to be on top of these things? This is what I am concerned about.
Yeah, I see really well said. And actually, as I was writing that roundup today, I spoke to Charlie Peters about it on my show last night at 10:20, and I remember thinking, you know, is this not the kind of work that the police should have done?
Well, I think you're right. I think you're right, Patrick. And you know what really annoys me? I sat next to Ellie Reynolds' dad at a press conference where Ellie Reynolds was asked whether or not basically this is all racism towards Pakistani, and she's a survivor and a brave survivor that speaks out about it. And her reply was, it is racism towards white girls. And I want to know, you know, if you're a victim of a racially aggravated crime, you get 6 times more support from the police and they rapidly investigate it. How many white English girls got racial aggravation as part of the charges to those people, and how much of them got extra support?
It was a hate crime. This was a hate crime as well as everything else.
Final point. I'm keen to get your views on this, Andy. Then we're going to have to move on. But when we see, for example, these like white grooming gangs or just monsters that we see there, you know, I'm disgusted by it. Obviously, we all are. Christys just called it on national television. I look at that map or those maps that we're seeing across the UK, especially the one we zoomed in on in the north of England. Do you actually think that the British Pakistani community or South Asian community or Muslim community in that area should be doing more to call this stuff out publicly?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think, you know, if it's anyone from an area, anyone from a certain group, yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I mean...
I just find it a bit weird that they don't massively... Like, I'd be all over it if this were, you know, I don't know, anyway. Right, well, look, sorry, I know you got Hannibal, I'm afraid, sorry, we're going to have to move on, I'm afraid. But the previous Labour government established a statutory national public inquiry, this is their statement, to investigate systemic institutional failures regarding grooming gangs. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andy Burnham has asked the MOJ to conduct an in-depth review of cases to ensure that grooming cases are identified and ensure that vile groomers are dealt with in the way that their victims deserve. Right, OK, next, I'm going to bring you, some really astonishing footage of this. So, the Chinese super embassy that we ridiculously approved, that was on the condition that the Chinese government abide by the laws of this country in this country, even in their embassy. Well, yesterday, video footage emerged of them very much not abiding by our laws, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not we actually shut down this super embassy. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News,
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christys tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. So, some shocking footage emerged on my show yesterday evening. No, it wasn't just me. And this appears to show guards at the Chinese embassy in London brandishing electroshock weapons at protesters, which, by the way, apparently are very much illegal. Here it is. So obviously they're behind all the bulletproof glass there and everything like that, but the point is they've got them, they're waving them around, and it's a threat. The incident occurred last month when demonstrators gathered at a vigil for a Tibetan activist who had died. Well, Shadow Home Affairs Minister Alicia Kearns said, how does the Chinese embassy have these weapons? Have they been obtained illegally? What else prohibited under UK law have they brought to the UK? Well, it was only last month that the High Court ruled that the Chinese mega embassy should be built after dismissing a legal challenge which argued that the presence of the building could lead to terrorist attacks and the targeting of dissidents. And also, the founder of the Interparliamentary Alliance on China has said the footage is timely because in the judicial review against the mega embassy, the government case rests on China abiding by UK laws. So, look, the whole point was they can't have the mega embassy if they don't abide by our law. So should we scrap the super mega embassy? What do we think? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. All right. You're all up for it. Are you sticking your hand up because you want to ask a question, sir, about it? You are? Good. We'll get that man a microphone then. Fantastic. But as we do that, Jamie, would you scrap the super embassy?
Yes, because nothing is more important than the national security of the United Kingdom. And I think the arguments have been made very eloquently. And actually, we might be able to say thank you to the Chinese for what they've done on this massive misstep, because if that actually helps, you know, one thing I've learned from judicial reviews, whether it's reform, stopping the cancellation of elections, or even on local planning issues, it just takes one massive, tiny little technicality to blow the whole thing up. And I hope that maybe, just maybe, this overstep by the Chinese might just be the thing that brings the whole thing down.
All right. Go on then, sir. Could you stand up for it? Would you mind standing up for us, please? Yeah, thank you.
I think it's time for the Prime Minister to show a backbone on this, actually. We're constantly under threat from Russia and China, and I think, and do the panel agree, that he should actually expel the Chinese ambassador, close the mega embassy down, and let's really show China who's in charge.
Oh, this guy. I would want to be next to you in the trenches.
Not extreme enough. We need to invade them.
Okay, I'm not involved in this.
Can I just say really quickly? So I spoke on a GB News show to Ian Duncan Smith a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying actually that we have, like, it's all well and good us talking about China, but we've also facilitated them. Do you know how many buses, how many cars, how much stuff we buy from them, how much technology we've allowed of theirs to be here in the UK, and I think we all need to as well look a little bit at ourselves, saying, oh great, you know, we've saved $5,000 on a car because, you know, it's a brilliant car that's cheaper than all the others, but actually what we're doing is we're facilitating this massive rise both economically and of course the other threats.
Yeah, I mean basically if you own a Chinese made product, you've just kind of got to assume it's listening to you. You do. I mean, we've had.
Patrick, at least someone's listening to you.
Thank you. Yes. I was going to make a joke there about having a Chinese wife, but I remembered she actually works at this channel and she's not Chinese. So yes, there's... but even we've had things like the military being told not to have classified conversations in military vehicles because they think that the Chinese components are listening to them. Today, that RAF base, RAF Akrotiri, isn't it, in Cyprus, apparently there's a 5-star hotel near it, and there are fears now that basically the Chinese government has been renting out rooms and spying on our military base just by renting a hotel room like 4 or 5 floors up. They are bang at it. But you call everyone comrade. I'm wondering whether you're...
No, well, we're all comrades. We're on the People's Channel. You know, we march in Reform's People's Army. You know, the revolution comes. I think that I think we should take the threat seriously. I think if these are actually illegal weapons that have been brought in through a diplomatic bag or something like that, definitely is a massive issue that the Foreign Secretary should be writing to the ambassador about. I think expelling the ambassador is probably a bit harsh and, you know, not the right step. I think oh God. I think we've got to take this into a bit of context. We will definitely also be trying to do that to China. We will definitely be trying to spy on them. Our allies will be trying to spy on them. I think we've got to kind of get a bit of a grip and stop, like, acting as if we're not also, and our allies are not doing the exact same thing. I think there is a bit of a double standard. You know, China are not a communist country anymore. They're more of a state capitalist authoritarian. But, like, you know, I think it's bad if they've got illegal weapons in there. But I think this demonisation is not.
Oh, well,
particularly...
Well, there we go. Soft on China. There you are. Soft on China.
Well, America do more harm to us economically. We are far more reliant on America, and in the hostile state they are in to us. You know, they're a lot more of an economic risk. And
should we turn to China? If we need some defence help, we should turn to China then, rather than America.
I think you should look at what Mark Carney in Canada is doing, is looking at that, you know, economic new world order that's emerging with them as the massive manufacturing power in the world, and making sure that we have a relationship with them.
But isn't it interesting, though, and I'm not necessarily accusing you of doing this, but I don't know, you know, think about the amount of human rights abuses that China does. The actual genocide of the Uyghur Muslims that is taking place. You don't have marches on the streets every weekend for that, do you, in this country?
You have them pretty regularly.
Not for the genocide against the Uyghur people.
Muslims, yeah. There are lots of demonstrations about them.
Not on the same scale.
There is one massive difference.
They're not outside Chinese takeaways up and down the country shouting about it, are they? Like they are outside Jewish bakeries and things. It's a complete different thing. But Adam, should we be looking again at this mega embassy? Because again, I should say it's over the cables to the City of London, all of our communication cables. It's ripe for the spying.
Exactly, and the risks are known already, and I just think, like someone already mentioned, we're too comfortable with always wanting to manage the risk and investigate and this analysis and that report. We already know the risk. China is an powerful authoritarian state. I really don't think it's a good idea to have a big mega embassy in the middle of London. You can have an embassy just somewhere else and much, much, much smaller.
Yeah. I think the good thing, though, and this is where we can really thank the competence of our politicians, is at least that embassy isn't being built with a huge basement over our most important internet infrastructure cables, right?
Because that would be a worry.
That would be a terrible worry, wouldn't it?
Oh, I'd be gutted about that.
So, yeah,
you'd think that will be an oversight, you know?
Yeah, it would be bad.
And with secret chambers that they've not had to submit plans for.
Because the plans don't include them at all.
No,
so the basement is a huge, huge basement that no one has any idea what's going on down. Well, thank goodness that isn't happening.
Oh, it's a relief, isn't it?
Phew.
That's a relief. Wait, that is happening, isn't
it? Right. So we really are toast then.
That's bad news. That's a bad day out. Anyway, right, OK, a Scotland Yard spokesman has said on Friday, July the 3rd, police were called to reports of a protest outside the Chinese embassy. 2 protesters alleged that embassy staff had pointed a taser towards them. No injuries were reported, and the officers left the area once the protesters had dispersed of their own accord. These are just... everything's fine!
They skipped away. I'm so happy.
It turns out it's just a misunderstanding. The investigation continues as officers review evidence, including video footage supplied by witnesses. The force added that no arrests have been made. Good.
Surprise, surprise.
GBNews also contacted the Chinese embassy for comment. We've yet to receive a response. There you are. But they're not really talking to us after I nearly got nicked outside the Chinese embassy. Anyway, right, time now for the Great British giveaway, and it's a week in Beijing. No, it's not really. It's not. It's a massive motorhome, which, in a way, I suppose you could take to Beijing. That's nice.
It's brand new and it's the big one. Your chance to win £110,000 in prizes. Our biggest giveaway of the year so far. First, we want you to drive away in this. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could win this brand new 4-berth motorhome. The McClue Fusion comes fully loaded with all of the home comforts you'd expect. Built-in modern kitchen, bathroom, fridge freezer, and it's worth £75,000. But that's just the beginning, as we'll also give you a whopping £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend, save, or just to use to enjoy adventures in your new motorhome. This incredible prize package is exclusive to GB News. You won't see it anywhere else, so make sure you don't miss out.
For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. We may call the winner live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, well, some of the breaking news that's just coming through to us this evening is that apparently the United States of America might be about to withdraw their support for British sovereignty over the Falkland Islands because we are set to not commit to 3% on defence spending. So that's the breaking news. I'm going to really give you all the detail on that at 11 p.m. tonight. But when we come back, the Green Party has pulled off an impressive council by-election victory yesterday in Dover, of all places, the entry point for the migrant crisis. But it was thanks to the fractures on the political right. So what should the right of British politics do? That's next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're heading away for the final weekend of summer, there is some drier and brighter weather on the cards for Spain and Italy. Very hot in the Mediterranean. Some quite intense thunderstorms, though, affecting parts of northern Italy in towards Slovenia and Croatia as well through Thursday and Friday and into the weekend. They will tend to fade away. You can see that very hot and sunny weather across the Mediterranean, and it's going to stay that way into next week as well, with temperatures in the mid-30s. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. The bank holiday weekend brings further showers and some windy weather for some areas, but it will be a little bit drier for many of us as we head through this evening. That's as the area of low pressure from today moves away to the east, and we're between areas of low pressure. We've got a ridge of slightly higher pressure for a time, which means less in the way of that heavy rain that many of us may have seen through today. So a dry night to come, clear skies developing as well quite widely across northern and eastern areas. To the west, though, notice this next batch of rain is going to be quite intense and breezy by tomorrow morning. But elsewhere, it's going to be a bright and relatively fresh start to the day. Should be a little bit more comfortable tonight than it has been lately, if you've been noticing that humidity. A northerly wind will move into parts of northern Scotland through the night, so there will be a bit more cloud across the far north of Scotland in particular. A little bit of light rain as well, just feeling a little bit fresher here. More sunshine for parts of southern and central Scotland, though, feeling quite bright across parts of Northern Ireland. That's where we'll just escape this main band of rain. It's likely to be heaviest across the southwest of England, South Wales through the first thing tomorrow, and then that will push north and eastwards through the morning, affecting much of England and Wales through the day. The winds will strengthen across the south coast into the afternoon. We could see gusts up to 35, possibly 40 miles per hour. So quite a windy day, particularly compared to any of the weather we've seen lately. And worth noting if you're camping. Some heavy bursts of rain into the afternoon, possibly some thundery downpours as well. Dry for the north on Saturday. A wetter day to come for more northern areas on Sunday. That's as this next area of low pressure pushes up to parts of Northern Ireland and parts of western Scotland through the day. Eastern areas seeing at least a dry start to the day, but there's a chance of showers in the afternoon. And the bank holiday Monday looks a little bit drier for more southern areas, but further rain in the north. Bye-bye.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Portillo. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Your views. Just to be clear, my viewers are frustrated. Your voice. Lots of you guys getting in touch. Your perspective. Before these two start fisticuffs. Your issues. What is the official party line? Your concerns. Do you agree with that? Your show. Are you keeping up? Good.
I'm so excited to be back this Tuesday at 6 p.m. Jubes & Co. Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
All right, welcome back. I'm actually I'm going to embarrass you, I'm afraid. Sorry. I just want a little bit of a round of applause for the lovely Edna who's joined us today. Can I ask, happy birthday for the other week. Now, Edna's 90.
Part of our birthday present.
Part of your birthday present, and it was a special birthday. Is it 95 years young?
Yes.
Well, there you go. Fantastic. Well done, Edna. Thank you very much. Bless you. Lovely stuff. Oh. All right, well, I suppose we should probably do the news, shouldn't we? But I was enjoying that. Anyway, the Green Party pulled off an impressive council by-election victory yesterday in an area that's the heart of Britain's migrant crisis. And it was all down to the right in this country being completely fractured. So Zach Polanski's candidate in Dover pipped Reform by just 34 votes, while Restore hailed a victory, noting that they polled even higher than they did in the Manchester mayoral election. Rupert Lowe's candidate got 284 votes. It's a worry for Farage. I mean, obviously the Tories as well, though, with 480, I think it was. It's a worry for Farage's party. I think the right in general, isn't it? Is this not a little bit of a microcosm of what Britain might become if Restore, the Tories and Reform don't get their act together? We could end up sleepwalking into, well, a Green or Labour government, couldn't we? Jamie, come on, what needs to happen here?
I find it staggering that we have a part of the country which is on the front line of the illegal migration emergency, where I do genuinely believe the majority of people that live there don't want it to happen, and they now are going to be represented by somebody that would rather be in Calais giving out a goodie bag for when they get here. So I think that's the worrying thing. I think it's important to mention in this particular ward, it is quite a left-wing ward. It has had that history, so let's not get too scared. But what I think is very much a problem is clearly Reform could have taken on the Greens and won. And there were lots of people out there trying to stop that happening. And we knew very close to that, very long out from that election, this was going to be between Reform and the Green Party. Now, why the Tories and the other party, Restore, chose to actively campaign and actively stop Reform taking that from the far left, I don't know. I love my country, and there is no way I would actively enable a Green candidate to win. So I find it very, very, very frustrating as a citizen of this country. But as a member of Reform, I have to be honest, I'm not concerned, because I think when people see that bar chart, they will go Reform, Reform, Reform.
Right. OK. All right. Well, can I... Go on, all right. Go on.
I'm not too sure it's such a left-wing ward, because combining the Reform vote, the Restore vote, and also the Tories, they would have got around 1,200 to 1,500 votes, if I'm not mistaken, which is almost double of the Greens. So this actually wasn't an ideological win in terms of that, that area moving more to the left. This was really down to the right splitting, and I think that's why this country might be in trouble.
In the general election, that was one of the strongest wards for Labour. That's the point I'm making.
Well, but then can I ask, if by your logic, and I'm really not trying to catch you up by asking this, but would you be in favour then if there were wards or constituencies in the general election which were very, very much predicted to be Tory, would you be then in favour of reform, saying, well, we won't stand a candidate there if the same thing happened elsewhere?
Very good question. I trust the British people to do the right thing at the general election. I trust their judgment. I don't think political parties need to play those games.
So you wouldn't, but you just wanted that to happen there. So why would they stop for a reform, but not the other way around?
Personally, I'd welcome a Restore candidate standing against me in next May's local elections. I'd welcome the opportunity to beat them at the ballot box. I believe in democracy.
OK, right, I get that. I'm very keen to see how the audience feel about this, though, because if you are of the view that, you know, this country really should not have another left-wing government for quite a long time, is there going to have to be some sort of deal here between the right? People think so.
This is my thing.
Oh, OK. Well, just get the microphone quickly. Sorry. I'm just going to ask you, I don't mean to be rude, but if we could just keep it relatively snappy. But yeah, go on. There's a lady here as we look at the poll on the screen.
I believe that Kemi, Rupert and Nigel should come together, should merge together. Right. And then to make a really strong party. That's what I think.
Oh, good, interesting point. There's a lot of people who will be thinking that. What do you? I mean, look, it doesn't really affect you, does it? I mean, you're a proud lefty, so you're just happy, split away.
I think, you know, the Labour Party has that same issue with the Green Party, with, you know, we briefly had it with your party, Corbyn's new party. I think certainly in more at a local level, I think it will be an issue where you could see in left-wing urban seats that the Lib Dems could sneak through or whatever. Like, I think there is an issue on both sides. I think, honestly, it's quite unrealistic to see the coalition that Reform have built, the coalition that Restore have built, and the coalition that stayed with the Tories coming together. Because one of the whole points is a lot of people are in Reform because they were quite unhappy with the Tories. A lot of people are in Restore because they were unhappy with the Tories and Reform. So I think it's just a difficult...
The only other side with that is that all three of those parties would say that they are on the patriotic side of Britain. And if you are really serious on the patriotic side of Britain, you're going to have to do something here.
I'm scared to death of a Green government. I really am, or a Green Labour coalition, because they are barking mad. They are.
I think you're right, Patrick. I think the people that support, the voters that are supporting the Conservative Party and Restore, I think they do love their country, and I think the Conservatives are praying that they're going to do something amazing and get back in. They're not going to. I think that's the reality. They're done. Their brand is broken. The Tory Party reminds me of Malaysian Airlines. I'm sorry, not for me. And then I look at Restore supporters.
That's a niche reference, that, Jamie.
No, very neat. I used to be a flight attendant. They lost 2 planes tragically very closely, and their brand is toast. I think the Tories are the same. When it comes to Restore, I think the issue there is that the supporters, the voters, believe in their country, and they just happen to support that party, maybe because they've had a leaflet from them. I do believe that the British people will not. We all know the next general election is our last chance to save our country, and you only need to look at that bar chart and know which horse you need to back if you want to make this country great again. And if you don't, and if you vote for anyone else, you are potentially allowing another left-wing government, or worse, I fear a coalition of chaos on the left is what we're going to be looking at, and that is the worst thing for our country.
But very quickly, you don't see it happening, I take it. You don't see this coalition happening, or do you?
I don't see it happening, but it does need to happen. And I think you can't be more focused on wanting to actually defeat your so-called new enemies than actually fighting for this country. I think there's a lot at stake here. And, you know, Reform are polling OK again. They're polling very well. And I do think the other parties need to perhaps consider, you know, working with them. What people say about Restore is that, you know, it's grievance stuff, and, you know, they're not really that serious for the country, because if they were, then in a place like, you know, Dover, you would actually probably step aside and allow someone who is actively serious about immigration to be there, not someone who's not serious at all. So it's one to watch.
Thank you. All right, thank you. We've got to go, because I want to leave time for Greatest Britain Union Jackass. We need lots of audience participation for this. So yes, Greatest Britain Union Jackass in just a minute's time. That's next.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
The 19th century opera composer Richard Wagner has been accused of virulent anti-Semitism and of inspiring Adolf Hitler. What is the truth in those accusations? A new book painstakingly researches what Wagner wrote and said and what he didn't write and say.
I was really guided to the title of my book by an article by Dominic Lawson on the occasion of Wagner's 200th birthday. It argued that we should go on listening to Wagner, but the headline was Hitler's favourite composer was a monster. And various facts were alleged in support of this, that Wagner believed in the German master race, that his views influenced Hitler.
GB News, the People's Channel. Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
What is rosé wine? How does it get that colour?
So the colour is from the red grapes. It's made with either white or red grapes, and it's left to macerate or steep, so you get a little bit of that red grape colour, but not so much that it's a red wine.
It's called the Pale Rosé by Sacha Lichine. Where does this come from?
This is from Provence. So this is the sort of sibling, little sister of a very famous rosé. And so they're making the same thing, but I find it sort of lighter, easier to drink, more fruity, and I think I prefer it. So it's delicious, really.
Oh, that is deeply delicious. Very drinkable, isn't it?
It is.
You've gone all afternoon with that.
GB News, the People's Channel. Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Royal Navy was the most powerful navy in the world at that time. That was really the bigger ships, the sort of capital ships they're called. When it came to small ships, we really weren't. And especially minesweepers, there was something like 30 sweepers to protect 20,000 miles of coastline. So Churchill, as First Lord of the Admiralty, realised quickly something needed to be done, and he mobilised what became known as the Royal Naval Patrol Service, rather a dry name. But he requisitioned 200 trawlers, deep-sea trawlers from Grimsby, Hull, all those big sort of fishing ports, and their crews. And they were fish holes were turned into mess decks. Fishing nets were removed, replaced by sweeping gear.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Thank you very, very much. I just want to say a quick shout-out to people who've travelled a long way to be here this evening. Pembrokeshire, we've got Wigan as well, and you were Chorley. There's a few others that are knocking around as well who I've forgotten. But anyway, thank you, all of you, for coming. I really appreciate it. Let's get on with Greatest Britain Union Jackass. Jamie, let's start with your Greatest Britain, please.
Yeah, this is very personal and special for me. Today I celebrated the life of my dear friend Joan Collins. She's an Essex icon, mum of Gemma Collins, who many of us all know. And she's a beautiful person. She's an absolute style icon, and she's my Greatest Britain.
Oh, bless her, yeah. Yeah, very, very worthy choice. Christo, who's your Greatest Britain?
I've gone for an honorary Greatest Britain, and I just think that the response to her death this week has been so heartwarming, and I don't think I've heard one person say a bad word against someone this famous, and that is Dolly Parton.
Oh. There you go. OK, Ada, your Greatest Britain?
Mine was going to be that, but it was taken. Thank you.
Oh, hang on a minute. Turf war going on here.
No one's getting between me and Dolly.
Wow.
But I'm actually going to say an interesting one. So I have no, interest for their politics, but someone called Ola Minahan, if I can say her name properly, I really admire her standing up for all women and girls in this country, even though she received a barrage of abuse. I think it takes integrity and, and I think hats off to her for that.
All right, good stuff. Andy.
Very much in the same breath as Christos, we lost another great icon, Tim Curry. Incredible singer, actor, performer. I think a real loss.
Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror
Well, yeah,
Picture
of course. I think a real loss to the industry.
OK, all right. Good stuff. Well, let's have a little vote on this by way of noise. Tim Curry for Greatest Britain, do we think? Yes. Ola Minahan. Dolly Parton. And Joan Collins, Gemma Collins, Mark. I'm going to call it a tie, I think, between Dolly Parton and Joan Collins. And, yeah, mainly because I I must say, I am a massive fan of Gemma Collins. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm not afraid to admit it. There we go. But anyway, right, let's do Union Jackass. Quickly, Jamie.
Well, it's got to be Andy Burnham. Please call a general election now.
OK. Oh, there's just no reason other than that he still exists. There you go, that's it. All right, Christo.
MP Claudia Webb for putting a post on X blaming us here in the UK for the flood in Nepal.
Oh, what?
She's not an MP.
Not an MP anymore.
Oh, is she not? She's not, is she? Well, whoever, anyway, I don't care.
Well, her. Right, OK, who's yours?
The Home Office and their rape booklets.
Oh, handing out the rape booklets. Go on, Andy.
Mine is Milo Yiannopoulos, who is a right-wing guy that's been deported from ICE, even though he was cheerleading all the people that got deported by ICE in America. So I think that's just quite funny to get deported by your own deportation guys.
Well, it is quite funny, to be fair. But yeah, poor bloke. It's all right. Anyway, right, OK, I'm going to award it to the Home Office deportation booklets, actually, as Union Jackass. All right. Thank you very, very much, everybody. Thank you to my panel. Thank you to you for watching and listening. And thank you to my audience, most of all. When we come back, newspapers, and it looks like it's all kicking off genuinely this time with the Falklands.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. The bank holiday weekend brings further showers and some windy weather for some areas, but will be a little bit drier for many of us as we head through this evening. That's as the area of low pressure from today moves away to the east, and we're between areas of low pressure. We've got a ridge of slightly higher pressure for a time, which means less in the way of that heavy rain that many of us may have seen through today. So a dry night to come, clear skies developing as well quite widely across northern and eastern areas. To the west, though, notice this next batch of rain is going to be quite intense and breezy by tomorrow morning. But elsewhere, it's going to be a bright and relatively fresh start to the day. Should be a little bit more comfortable tonight than it has been lately, if you've been noticing that humidity. A northerly wind will move into parts of northern Scotland through the night, so there will be a bit more cloud across the far north of Scotland in particular. A little bit of light rain as well, just feeling a little bit fresher here. More sunshine for parts of southern and central Scotland, though, feeling quite bright across parts of Northern Ireland. That's where we'll just escape this main band of rain. It's likely to be heaviest across the southwest of England, South Wales through the first thing tomorrow, and then that will push north and eastwards through the morning, affecting much of England and Wales through the day. The winds will strengthen across the south coast into the afternoon. We could see gusts up to 35, possibly 40 miles per hour. So quite a windy day, particularly compared to any of the weather we've seen lately. And worth noting if you're camping. Some heavy bursts of rain into the afternoon, possibly some thundery downpours as well. Dry for the north on Saturday. A wetter day to come for more northern areas on Sunday. That's as this next area of low pressure pushes up to parts of Northern Ireland and parts of western Scotland through the day. Eastern areas seeing at least a dry start to the day, but there's a chance of showers in the afternoon. And the bank holiday Monday looks a little bit drier for more southern areas, but further rain in the north. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's brand new and it's the big one. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could win this brand new 4-berth motorhome. But that's just the beginning, as we'll also give you a whopping £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend, save or just to use to enjoy adventures in your new motorhome.
For a chance to win, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night